This playlist is recording my journey on the trail called Explore Inspection Management for Public Sector. And this is in order to be able to do dynamic assessments. The first section of the playlist talked about how to do inspections using standard objects to public sector. Now we're going to look at dynamic assessments. And this is the screen that says, before you start, take a look at inspections with public sector solutions. So having completed that, we should be in good shape to get started, although it does say, take a look at admin essentials for public sector solutions as well. So let me just go take a look at what admin essentials is telling us. So this is a significant kind of setup of applications. We're going to really focus just on preparing the organization. And before we start this, we're supposed to look at public sector solutions basics, but I think we're okay for now. Now, some practice steps, this is an interesting note, cover installing OmniStudio. If you want to install it, you have to use Enterprise because Trailhead won't support OmniStudio installation. So we're using a trial org instead, so we should be fine there. First step is to verify licenses, and they want to verify that you have the required public sector solutions and OmniStudio licenses. They say from setup in the quick find box, enter company information and select company information. And here's a screenshot of the company information setup page. Note that it's not talking about the public sector solutions or OmniStudio licenses. So zooming this way in, not sure if you can read it, but I can tell you what it says. We're looking for public sector solutions and OmniStudio licenses. Public sector solutions and OmniStudio licenses. I don't see it here as a user license. Here we have the option of adding more to get to our 47. Feature licenses they're showing us too. So I can just imagine the frustration of a new admin trying to understand what to do here. So taking a look at my trial org, and we're looking for public sector solutions and OmniStudio licenses. So let's just do a find on a page. And it looks like I have a public sector access, a community, and a sector field. And a TCRM for public. Now these are active, but notice that they haven't yet been assigned. We also have OmniStudios, and one of those has been assigned. But since I really don't care about public sector and I'm really interested in OmniStudio, I'm going to see if I have enough to be able to make it work at this point. Looking at the additional steps here, talks about enabling person accounts, contacts to multiple accounts, talks about OmniStudio. So we are looking at runtime for communities and Omni user permission. So we can set that up if we need to. For OmniStudio, it says, take a look at installed packages. And I do have an OmniStudio installed with the trial org, so it's bound to be fine. I found this note helpful. It says, starting with Spring, OmniStudio is replacing Velocity INS. I've seen the velocity, especially with polymorphic fields that look at multiple potential parent objects. So that explains that piece of it. So we at least understand what steps they wanted us to take. I'm going to close this for now. And after an introduction to discovering dynamic assessments, there are some setup steps here that are worth understanding. And the first is enabling discovery framework. And we find discovery frameworks, and we're asked to look at the general settings. And I'm pretty sure I had to enable this one and possibly this one. Interesting that we don't have to enable this one. We do have these sample templates, and taking a look at these, I'm not finding any. And what it says is they don't have permission, so there must have been something else that needed to be enabled in order to be able to see the sample templates. So these were the instructions we're looking for. And then we can proceed to the setup of permission sets. They recommend creating an industry assessment permission set with a license of industry assessment. So it's a new one. They say called industry assessment. We're not going to require that. And so we can select industry's assessment and save it. So they want us to modify the system permissions. And save it. And they suggest going back to users. And in my permission set assignments, they suggest adding action plans, dynamic assessment access, OmniStudio, and also industry assessment. So go to industry assessment, add that, click save. And looking at my assignments, I now have all 3 of the ones I needed. Actually 4, right? Action plans included. And now we can move on to set up questions and regulatory codes.